everyone. So I'm back to do another review. I know you're excited. I have some like nerd specs now because I need glasses sometimes. I guess I don't really need them for this, so I guess I could probably take them off. But anyway, and my cat is apparently intrigued with something on the roof. I don't know what's up with that, but anyway, I'm gonna get this done because I won't be able to do it later since I'll have dental surgery in 2 days. So I want to do this review on Last of Us because I finished it like the week it came out or the weekend it came out, but I haven't. Actually, I do need these to read this shit. But I haven't got around to doing it for some reason, so I'm gonna do it now. What are you doing, weirdo? So Last of Us. So I'm gonna start with all my notes. It's a lot. I'm gonna start with the plot, I guess. So the story and the pace of the plot of Last of Us is pretty good. I always felt like I was in the groove. Didn't really feel like it was too drawn out or too short. So I liked that. I thought it was really clever to cover up the loading sequences with cutscenes and additional dialogue, so it kind of provides more context while it's loading in the new maps. Although the initial loading of the game, I swear to God, took forever. It would annoy the shit out of me. Every time you like load it in when you want to play it again, it's just like it takes forever. The plot wasn't too predictable. There were a couple bits that were like you knew someone was going to get it, but overall it seemed pretty. Like I was surprised by some of the events that happened in the plot, which doesn't really happen with me too often. Usually I can kind of predict almost everything that happens, so it's kind of refreshing to have a game like that. And the ending really surprised me, actually. Like the very last couple lines. What are you doing? Sorry. The very last couple of lines, I think it kind of leaves it open to a sequel, but I guess we'll see. At Joel. The opening sequence, however, jumping from the end of the movie to the beginning, the opening sequence gets you really hooked. So you kind of get caught up in like the zombie moments and stuff like that. So it's kind of fun. Some of the moments in the game were really disturbing, though. Like there were parts where like Ellie almost got raped by someone. I don't really want to give it too much away, but like shit was real. So it kind of brought it down to, as much as horrible as to say, a human level, with the pacing and the real life things that could happen if there was like sort of like this infection or apocalypse, if you will. I also wrote that I really liked how they kind of broke it out into chapters, like between summer and winter. Each piece is definitely its own entity, so there are definitely different things that go on in each chapter or season. So I think it makes sense the way they did that. The environment. So, holy shit. The game looks amazing. Like, when I was playing that, I like walked up, especially on the capital or the cityscape when you first get Ellie and you going through the city. That was so cool with like the buildings that were halfway down and just everything. There was like a lot of attention to detail, and I thought it was really, really gorgeous. And the woods too, like the grass and the trees and all that. I know how hard leaves and stuff can be to render and to make in video games, and I thought those were also very beautiful. So they really spent a lot of time making sure that the gaming environments were as realistic as they possibly could be, and it shows. I guess it's not really an environment, but so there were horses, monkeys, and giraffes. Like, I can't even explain my excitement for the giraffe bit. If you haven't played it yet, I hope that doesn't spoil it for you, but you'll have to get the context. What are you doing? Oh, there's a fly in here. Oh boy. I also wrote that they really use dark to their advantage. So I think most horror games or most games like that they use that, but I thought it was cool how the game was a lot more scary if you didn't use your flashlight, especially with those damn clickers. Oh, those cats are gonna drive me crazy doing this. So moving on to the gameplay. I like the gameplay overall. Like the shooting mechanisms were all right. I thought it needed more infected though. We fought a lot of like just regular non-infected people, like hunters and the military and things like that. I think you spent more time fighting those than the infected, or maybe just to be fair, I think the non-infected were harder to fight because they're smarter than the infected. So you had to kind of plan out whether you wanted to sneak around or shoot them. I think that the crouching to hear around the corner is kind of a crutch, so it's almost like a way of cheating where you could kind of see where the enemy is around the corner in the dark. I found that on my second playthrough of Last of Us, that not using that, you got through the game a lot freaking quicker. And the game becomes more scary and a little bit more eerie, especially when you hear like things like running past you and you don't know quite where they are. I think it's more fun that way. Speaking of scary things, the clickers, those are like my least favorite infected and most favorite infected. I hate them. I do not like them because of they're kind of a pain in the ass to kill. I mean, I know you can shank them and stuff, but certain weapons don't work on them, and almost all the times I died in the game was because of a clicker, not like an infected or anything like that. So it was pretty interesting. I like how this game also has like the Left 4 Dead equivalent of a boomer. I kind of feel like Left 4 Dead had set the precedent of special infected types. Knock it off! Little killers back there. Special infected types, so I feel like every zombie game now has to have like their equivalent to like a boomer or a smoker or something like that, which I think is kind of funny. Speaking of Left 4 Dead, not to go off on a tangent, but did you hear about how they found that there might be a Left 4 Dead 3? Oh, you have no idea how excited I am for that. It's like Left 4 Dead like got me back into gaming pretty much, as that sad as that sounds. Moving on. Some of the prompted scenes were good in the gameplay. The one that particularly stood out to me was like the one where you were having to hang upside down and shoot zombies. That was pretty intense, but it was pretty cool. It kind of gave me vertigo a little bit. Like you're like, it really threw you off. It was kind of wild. Love the what? Oh. On that note, I thought a lot of the gameplay was you had to use your head. You just couldn't run through most of it. Some of it you could, but you had to kind of figure things out, which I also liked. It wasn't so much puzzle solving, because I'm not a big puzzle person, but more, I guess you could say it was a puzzle if you had to put things together in order to do something, but it wasn't that bad. And then finally what I wrote is that I really loved the notes in the game that you could find throughout the game scattered everywhere. I would like to see more notes. The one story that particularly stood out in my mind when I finished the game was the notes that you found in the sewers with the daycare and like the guy who lived in the sewers who took on all these kids. That story was really cool to kind of like walk through the sewers and see what happens to the children and this guy as you get through. And once you get out of the sewers, you actually find a note in one of the houses if you search for it from someone in the sewer, so you kind of know what happens. Otherwise, if you don't find that note, you kind of are left empty-handed. That would be a story that I would love to see if they ever made a sequel to Last of Us. Whether Joel and Ellie are in the sequel or not, it'd be kind of cool to see like a story come, like they meet with someone that they found in the notes or something, because I think that would be really cool. Other than that, I'm sure there's a bunch I'm missing, because I haven't played the game in a while, like over a month, but overall, like almost everyone has said, I know my review is late, but overall, like, it's a great game, and if you haven't bought it yet, you should definitely go get it. I played it in a weekend, because I literally just sat on the couch for 2 days straight and just played this game until I finished it. It was like my crack. I couldn't stop. It was so addicting, more so for me for the plot. like I said, the actual gameplay, like shooting things, it gets a little bit redundant. You can kind of figure out how to get past certain enemies easier as the game moves on, so it's not that challenging. So I suggest maybe if you're up for a challenge, doing it on a harder mode. I just did it on normal because I wanted to get through it. But I'm sure something like hardcore, whatever the equivalent to hardcore is in Last of Us, would make it a bit more difficult and probably more scary. But yeah, you meet a lot of interesting characters. I think the characters really make this game what it is. Along the plot's good, but I think the people who they cast and the characters are pretty strong. Everyone you meet, you either have like an affinity to, or you like want to fucking kill them right away. So, and I'll let you judge that. But it was also cool that I got to ride a horse in the game. That was kind of random, but I like horses. I think that's it. So hopefully I will have another game to review in the next month or two. I'm trying to build a PC up, so once I complete that, you guys should all hit me up on Steam and we can play something. Anyway, so like the normal stuff, follow me on Twitter, keep reading my blog even though I don't update it as much as I should be, and just say hi every once in a while. Thanks, guys.